Are you thinking about switching to an online homeschool math curriculum, but feeling nervous about giving up that control? Or maybe even wondering, is it still homeschooling if I bring in outside help? I've been there too, and today I want to talk about that and about the math program I recently discovered, Mrs. Peters Math. But even more than that, I want to have a conversation about something that doesn't get talked about enough in the homeschool world: making flexible choices, whatever that might look like for your family. For those who don't know me, I'm Laura from monkeyandmom.com. I've been homeschooling my gifted, twice exceptional only child for the past 10 years. On my blog, I share curriculum reviews, create resources, and probably most importantly, encourage other homeschool moms to make choices that actually work for their families, not just what looks perfect on paper. When you start homeschooling, it's easy to feel like you have to do everything yourself. The lesson planning, the teaching, the grading, the coaching, all of it. And for a while, that might work, especially in the early years when the content is manageable and you feel confident. But as our kids grow, their needs change. And let's be honest, so do ours. That's when bringing in outside help, whether it's online classes, a local co-op, or one-on-one tutoring, can actually make homeschooling better, not weaker. It gives our kids access to teachers who specialize in certain subjects. It exposes them to different teaching styles and learning environments. And honestly, it frees us up to focus on the parts of homeschooling we do love instead of burning out trying to do it all. It's not a sign of giving up, it's a sign of growing alongside your child and recognizing when it's time to shift. Now, Mark has always been strong in math, but that didn't mean every math program was the right fit. We mostly used textbooks for elementary math and stuck with Math in Focus. In hindsight, it wasn't the easiest choice for a homeschool setting. It wasn't the most fun or flexible either. But overall, I'm happy with how Mark's math foundation turned out. By middle school, he was ready for pre-algebra. He finished both pre-algebra and algebra 1 from Mr. D Math in just 1 year in 6th grade. I'll link all my Mr. D Math reviews below if you want to check those out too. I kept waiting for him to stumble, thinking maybe we'd have to go back to middle school math because he was young and using online programs for the first time. But that never happened. In fact, instead of struggling, he flourished with online math. He became more independent. And that's when I had my first real exhale. The burden of teaching math and the stress of trying to get it right finally lifted. Letting go of being the main math teacher was hard, I won't lie, but I also knew it was necessary because in the end, I want what all parents want, what's best for my child. And this is really what I want to emphasize today. I know there's a lot of stigma around choosing outside help for your homeschool. Some purists even say that what we are doing isn't real homeschooling, but I'm here to give you permission to homeschool eclectically. Pick and choose exactly what you need to help your children thrive, to develop their strengths and work through their weaknesses, whether that's through online programs or face-to-face teachers. I've never let a mold or someone else's idea of what homeschooling should look like dictate how we do things, and honestly, I think we've been pretty successful at it. And that brings me to the program I'm reviewing today, Mrs. Peters Math. When Mrs. Peters reached out and asked if I'd review her program, I said yes almost immediately. Because even though it wasn't going to be a long-term fit for us, since Mark is just starting pre-calculus and her last level is Algebra 2, I knew that many families are looking for exactly what she offers. And just to be clear, this video isn't sponsored. If you want to read my full, in-depth review, I'll also link the blog post below. So let's take a look at what makes Mrs. Peters Math stand out. It isn't a big company. It's not a mass-produced curriculum from a publisher, and it's definitely not another faceless online course with endless video lectures. Mrs. Peters Math is a series of small, live, online math classes for homeschoolers, taught personally by Mrs. Peters herself. She offers courses from 6th grade math all the way through Algebra 2, and because it's run by one teacher, not a huge company, every part of the program reflects her experience, her teaching style, and her focus on making math both understandable and supportive for middle and high school students. So what exactly makes Mrs. Peters Math different from so many other online homeschool math curriculum options? The biggest thing, she's a real teacher. And while that might sound obvious, if you've tried online math before, you know how rare that truly is. Most programs offer pre-recorded videos, maybe a discussion board or office hours, but your child is mostly on their own. Mrs. Peters does it differently. She teaches live 3 times a week. She takes questions in real time. She explains concepts patiently and clearly. So what does Mrs. Peters Math actually look like in practice? For this review, I explored the 6th grade level, and I'll show you a few glimpses inside the program in just a minute so you can see how it works. Here's what families can expect, and I'll share my thoughts as we go. 3 live online classes each week where Mrs. Peters teaches new concepts and takes questions in real time. Honestly, this is what first made me say yes to reviewing her program, because 3 live sessions is almost unheard of in online homeschool math. Interactive Google Docs homework that gives immediate feedback as students work through problems. I really like this. It encourages kids to self-correct as they go, and I think that's a great confidence booster, especially for students who tend to second-guess themselves. An organized Canvas portal where everything's easy to find. Class recordings, notes, quizzes, extra videos, and even the occasional math game. We've used Canvas in other programs, and how the teacher organizes it makes all the difference. Mrs. Peters' setup is one of the clearest I've seen. 2 weeks to complete homework. That's such a gift for busy homeschool families. It keeps kids on track, but still gives you breathing room when life happens, which it always does. An optional free online math textbook if you want more examples or practice at home. I love that it's there as a resource, but it's not required. It gives families more control over how much extra work they want to add without overwhelming anyone. And finally, extra instructional videos that explain tricky concepts in different ways. This is something I always look for in programs or add them in myself when we get stuck. Not all kids absorb things the same way the first time, so having multiple explanations available can really help things click. After class, the recording is uploaded. Students can review it anytime along with their homework notes and any extra help or videos for that week's lessons. It's a really smooth system. Kids get the benefits of live instruction and the flexibility to review and practice at their own pace during the week. So what did I personally love about Mrs. Peters Math? First, her teaching style. It's this really lovely balance between gentle and firm. She gives students room to process and learn at their own pace, but she also keeps them moving forward. There's structure without pressure, which if you've ever had a child freeze up in math, you know how important that is. She adjusts her pace based on the majority of students in the class, so no one feels rushed, but things still keep progressing. And because there are 3 live classes each week, concepts stay fresh and don't have time to slip away. That consistency really helps build both skills and confidence. During class, she works through problems with the students, not just at them. She asks questions, encourages participation, and makes sure everyone has the chance to engage. And what really stood out to me, her patience. She's thorough without ever making students feel like they're behind or asking too much. It's not just about delivering content, it's about teaching in a way that makes kids feel safe to try, to ask, and to grow. Second, the interactive homework. And this isn't just busy work. The Google Docs are designed to guide students through each math concept step by step. As they work through problems, correct answers unlock parts of a hidden picture or puzzle, adding a simple, math-focused interactive element that even older kids enjoy. It's not overly gamified or distracting, but it gives just enough instant feedback to boost motivation. Most students can score close to 100%, not because it's too easy, but because the system encourages self-correction and mastery as they go, rather than punishing mistakes. Now, are there any drawbacks? Honestly, not many. The price might look a little high at first glance, but when you consider that you're getting a qualified math teacher working directly with your child 3 times a week, it's very reasonable, especially compared to private tutoring or big-name online academies. So, if you've been looking for an online math program that doesn't just drop your child into a sea of videos and hope for the best, Mrs. Peters' Math might be the right fit. So here's what I want to leave you with. Choosing online classes or any kind of outside help doesn't mean you're handing over your homeschool. It means you're building a team. You're choosing tools and teachers who can become an extension of the education you've already built, not a replacement. And for those of us who are busy, stretched thin, or just not comfortable teaching certain subjects, that's not a weakness. It's being strategic and realistic about what your family needs. We can't do it all, and we don't have to. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you used online classes in your homeschool? How has that worked for your family? Let's have a conversation, because this is something more homeschoolers should feel confident about choosing. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious.